Hello everyone and welcome to an amazing game from the Esports World Cup 2025. And I know sometimes you say, okay, you're throwing around the amazing too much, but no, I'm not kidding. I only show amazing games, and this definitely is one. Andrey Esipenko versus Levon Aronian, and some of you were surprised at how strong Levon was. Yeah, okay, he won the Chess 960 event or the Fisher Random or the freestyle event, and he's bringing that form now into regular chess. But for those of you who are maybe new to chess and don't know this, Levon is actually a former 2800 player, and not only that, he's the fourth highest rated player of all time, only behind Magnus Carlsen, Kasparov, and Fabiano Caruana. Of course, you guys know me. I would also list Bobby Fischer in there, but ratings were just too small back then. Fischer had to win like 100 games against top-tier competition in order to just gain a little crumbs of rating points. If he played today, things would be much different, and top players wouldn't be able to win as many games. But it's like that. You only get sort of one legend per era. And but yeah, of course, not diminishing Levon's number 4 place. He's an amazing player. He always was. He's one of the most creative players who ever played, and he still plays at that level. And Esipenko, okay, we've covered many of his games. He can beat literally anyone. He's also an amazing player. It's just that, at least for me personally, Levon is amongst the legends. So yeah, let's check it out. And at the end of the previous video, I said that I have 2 very big surprises regarding the channel. I'm not able to disclose them as of yet. Maybe in 2 days' time I will be able to, but they are pretty big, and I think you guys will really love them. You try to guess. Maybe try to guess. So yeah, let's check it out and see why this is such a beautiful game. So Esipenko with white opens with pawn to d4. We have knight to f6 by Levon. Andrey goes for knight to c3, an early sign of a London system player. Philidor would turn in his grave if he saw a knight in front of the pawn like this, but modern times require modern ideas. Pawn to d5, we have bishop to f4, going for the London system setup, and pawn to c5 by Levon. We have pawn to e3, c captures on d4, we have e captures, and pawn to a6. We have knight to f3 and knight to c6. We have knight to e5, going for the early grab of the e5 square, and the knight is excellently placed there. If you capture it at any point, which is what everyone wants to do when you play with the black pieces, is just almost never a good idea. White will capture, d captures on e5, and there's just no good move now, because once you move the knight, the d5 pawn hangs, and if you try to complicate it with, let's say, d4, then you can just play e captures, d captures, the queens get traded, for example, captures, captures, f captures on e7, bishop captures, castles queenside with check, and white just has a much better position. Of course, you will not mess up your pawn structure. You're going to play b3, capture the pawn later, and enjoy a much better game. So, of course, bishop to d7 by Levon, a3, and now pawn to e6. Now the bishop has a way of entering the game. The queen has a way of entering the game. The rook probably coming to c8. So it's interesting to see what Esipenko will try to handle this. We have queen to d2. There is a game where bishop d2 was played. Queen to d2 is what Esipenko goes for, and it is now as of move 9 that we have a completely new game. Levon goes for rook to c8 and bishop to e2, saying, okay, I've developed all of my pieces. I can castle both queenside and kingside, depending on what Levon plays. Levon plays queen to b6. He puts pressure on the d4 pawn and also on the b2 pawn, and unless you want to play something like knight captures on c6 and fix black's pawn structure, or, just give black a nice square on c6 for the rook, you will castle queenside, because that takes care of the b2 pawn weakness and also adds the rook to d1 to defend the d4 pawn. And that is what Esipenko goes for, and it is the best way to play. We have queen to a5, and okay, the position, if you ask the engine will say it's either equal or white may be slightly better. But if you look at this, look at that rook, the queen, the dark square bishop, the knight. When Levon is playing, I even feel like the rook on h8 is a part of the attack. It's very easy to go wrong. And king to b1 is a move that you should play. It's a nice prophylactic idea. will help you out, immensely in the long run. And also you could try something like knight captures and c6, just try and trade down. But Andrey played queen to e3, and his position is already lost. I don't know if you've seen the game live. Just in case you haven't, feel free to pause the video and try to figure out what went wrong here while I give you a couple of seconds. So yes, it is exactly that. There's just too much pressure going on here on that c3 and a3 squares. Something has to give, and that something is, the knight on e5. Knight captures on e5. Now, you have to recapture. You do not have time to handle anything on the queen side. We have d captures on e5. Bishop captures also possible, but doesn't really change anything. And Levon goes for rook captures on c3. Pretty standard sacrifice if you're a Grunfeld player or maybe an Eidorf player. Queen captures on c3, queen captures, b captures, and now not even the immediate bishop captures on a3, rather knight to e4, just threatening knight captures on c3, but also knight captures on f2, which will fork the two rooks. So rook d to e1, and only now bishop captures on a3 with check. And if you go king to d1, then look at this, knight captures on c3 with check, king d2, knight to e4 check, and where is that king going? Really not a lot of good squares for the king. Now if you go back to d1, the knight captures on f2 comes with check, so you're going to lose the rook. And if you go to e3, well, as I like to say, then you have a king on e3, and okay, just g5, and white is in a terrible position, bishop to c5, and that white king really is running out of squares. King to d3, bishop to b5 check, and that's pretty much it. So after bishop captures on a3, king to b1, of course. We have knight captures on c3 with check, and now king to a1. And here Levon just goes castles king side. And I believe he just wanted to play in the style of the old masters. A modern player would play king e7 because there's no reason not to play it. I mean, even if you don't checkmate your opponent, the game might go into an endgame. It helps to have a king in the center of the board instead of on the king side. But Levon is not planning to take this into the endgame. He's planning to finish this very quickly. He castles king side. We have bishop to d3 and rook c8. The rook is coming to c5 and then to a5. So what can Andrey do? He plays bishop to c1 in hopes of trading a little bit of material. Levon says, of course, not today. Goes bishop to c5, and the position, like I said, is already lost, but Esipenko makes it possible for Levon to end it on the spot. He played pawn to f4, and now there is one move that ends the game on the spot. Perhaps not the first move you think of. I know it's not the first move you think of because I know what move you're thinking of. So, don't think of that move. So have at it. Feel free to pause the video and win the game for Levon while I give you a couple of seconds. Of course, the move is not bishop to d4. I know it's the first move you thought of, because if you play bishop d4, bishop e3, and you have nothing. There's just no good follow-up here. So what you have to do after f4 is play bishop to f2. And it's such an elegant move, taking away the e file from the white rook. Look at this, the knight covers e2 and d4, the bishop covers e1 and d3. You're saying, okay, either give up the material or move the rook. And both is losing. So Andrey played the rook to f1, and now Levon brought the bishop back to d4. And now you don't have bishop to e3, and bishop to b2 is just bad. If you play bishop to b2, then just rook c5. And look at this knight covering a2, covering b1, rook a5 is coming. This will be game over. And even if you try to trade here, it doesn't really help you. Whatever you play, rook b1, rook a5, rook a1 will be checkmate. There's no way to avoid that. So after bishop to d4, rook to f3, but again, it doesn't help. For Levon, it's all the same. Rook to c5, bishop to e3, trying to trade off some of the attackers, but now rook to a5 with check, king to b2, and now just knight to d1 check. And he was in this position on move 25 that Andrey Esipenko resigned to the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. You're just going to lose a piece. The bishop on e3 is lost, and that's it. If you go to king to b1, then rook to a1 is just checkmate. And if you go king to b3, then even moves like bishop to a4 check, king b4, bishop to c3 with check, king a3, and now a nice discovery, bishop captures and c2 will be checkmate. So yeah, pretty tough loss for Esipenko, and like I said, I mean this position, such an elegant one after Levon. The queen is already on b6. You might be thinking, you know chess principles because you learned them. You're a great player. Don't touch the same piece twice in the opening. But when you're the fourth highest rated player of all time and a former 2800, you know that queen a5 is a great move, and very easy to go wrong. Esipenko played queen e3, and the position just falls apart. So yeah, incredible game, incredible form by Levon. He just okay. You've seen the two Magnus wins I've shown yesterday. Okay, he grinds, and then he wins. But Levon, he just dismantles players. It's a 25 move miniature. It's just beautiful stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I have. We'll keep you guys informed on the big updates that I'm preparing. One of them you will love. I think you'll love both of them, but one of them will just change your entire existence. It will change the way you perceive reality and go through your day. I'm totally not kidding. Hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank Ricardo Cordona Lopez, James White, Robert Pande, Christian Medical and Professional Services, and Peter Albert for contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.